Is that good?
This is one of Emily's good days. For her mum Becky, these moments are precious and they are rare. Emily was born with spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy.
Go.
She cannot use her legs or her arms and she is fed by a tube. She also has epilepsy. She can be playing like this, then without any warning, an aggressive seizure will take hold that can last up to 3 hours.
The conditions that she has do mean that she's going to have a reduced life expectancy, and the fact that she can become so poorly so quickly, and obviously with the epilepsy, you know, every day it's not given. We do live kind of week to week. She's going to survive for however long she survives for. I won't ever ask anybody. I don't want to know.
As a single mum with a terminally ill child, Becky doesn't just need help, she needs expert help.
How are things going, Becky?
Good, good.
And that comes from Brian House Children's Hospice in Blackpool. As well as regular home visits, Emily comes here for respite care. We were invited to spend a night at the hospice. Tonight they're looking after Callum, Joshua, Liam and Evan.
Yay!
Like Emily, their conditions are complex and incurable, but manageable for now, in part due to the world-class care they receive here. But that care costs a lot. They have to raise more than £12,000 a day in donations to keep this and their adults' hospice open. But last year they failed to raise enough money, and they are warning that a growing funding crisis here and elsewhere is putting end-of-life care at risk.
I think it's a major concern because I think there is a real risk that without more secure and more predictable funding, I think certainly smaller hospices, I think, are at real risk of having to either cut services or, the worst of all scenarios, actually shut.
It can cost up to £8 million a year to run a hospice in the North West. The vast majority of that money doesn't come from the government, it comes from charitable donations. The average children's hospice receives 17% of its funding from the NHS. The average adult's hospice receives more money, 32%, because they look after more patients, but they still have to raise more than 2/3 of what they spend on their own. But an exclusive Granada Reports investigation has found that hospices across the North West are seeing both a fall in donations and funding from the government frozen or cut at a time when demand for end-of-life care is rising faster than ever. We contacted all 29 hospices in the North West. 14 responded with a breakdown of their funding. 6 of those hospices are currently spending more money than they are bringing in, but almost every one of them told us that in recent years they too had failed to raise enough money to pay for the care they provide, and expect that trend to continue. The message from all of them is that unless the government steps in now to address this funding crisis, it is inevitable that services will be cut. Wigan and Lee Hospice said it was so bad they now worry constantly about running out of money, while St Luke's Hospice in Cheshire said these people who are dying have lived and loved, yet giving them the care they need is not guaranteed. Jean has terminal cancer. She comes to St Catherine's Hospice near Preston every Tuesday for physiotherapy, pain management and access to specialist cancer nurses. She is proof that modern hospices have become less of a place where people come to die, but where they come to live, to get back a quality of life that their condition is trying to take away.
They understand pain relief. They understand cancer pain. They're experts in it, so that's the best thing that's happened to me, really, is coming here. I wish I'd known about it sooner. I'm living with cancer, I'm not dying from it. I think it's important to get on with your life and live it. I've got grandchildren. I want to live. Sorry. I don't want to die.
But the future of services like day therapy here are uncertain. It costs £11,500 a day to run this hospice. But finding that money is getting harder and harder.
I don't think our system is sustainable. Generating that money each year is extremely difficult. We've had to lay some stuff off from time to time, and we have to go through business processes to make ourselves as efficient and as effective as we possibly can be.
Should looking after people who are dying be a business, though?
Well, I think healthcare is a business whatever way you look at it, but I have no doubt that unless we're very innovative going forward, we will be stretched purely because of the numbers of people that need good end-of-life care.
End-of-life care in Britain is regarded as the best in the world. It is care paid for by cake sales and fun runs, generosity and goodwill. It's care which could save the NHS an estimated £80 million a year, but it's now at real risk of being cut back at a time when it's needed most.
Well, Dan is in our Westminster studio now. Dan, these hospices do incredible work, as we saw in your report there. Why are they having such serious financial problems?
Well, a number of the chief executives of those hospices I spoke to say what they're going through right now is best described as a perfect storm. Poor economic times mean fewer people are donating. It's a tough charitable sector out there with lots of competition, and there is an unspoken rule amongst hospices in the North West that they don't venture out looking for money beyond their own catchment areas. But for poorer areas like Rochdale with Spring Hill Hospice and other areas of the North West, you're asking deprived communities, poor communities, to raise millions and millions of pounds every single year to essentially pay for their own end-of-life care. And on top of that, many hospices have seen a fall in legacy payments. That's money that people leave to those hospices in their wills, because as people get older, they not only lead end-of-life care, they have to go into homes, and that home care is paid for out of their own money. So rather than leave it to a hospice, they have to use it on their own. And a number of issues coming together at the same time as demand for hospice care is rising and rising all of the time.
And Daniel, you've gone to the Department of Health for a response tonight. What have they said?
Well, they said they wouldn't give us an interview, unfortunately, but they have sent us a statement. They say the UK was recently ranked #1 in the world for the care we give, and the CQC rates 90% of hospices good or better, but we accept that there is room for improvement. They also say we have tasked the NHS to deliver improvements in end-of-life care, including working to end variation, education and training for staff, and introducing a 7-day NHS with high-quality care across the week. I suspect, though, that many hospices in the North West will see the Department of Health have missed the point there. They know that the work they do is good. What they're saying is that there's no guarantee they can carry on delivering that work unless there's a guaranteed safety net if donations continue to fall. And right now they don't have consistent or stable funding from the government, and that of course is a huge worry, because we all will face this situation at some point in our lives.
Down in Westminster.